Rick, buddy, let's cut to the chase. I've seen a lot, like turning water into wine kind of stuff. But nothing quite as ridiculous as what you've been pulling across the multiverse. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for exploring the mysteries of existence. But you're out here creating alternate timelines like they're Happy Meal toys. And I've got to ask, why? You're the smartest guy in the room. No, wait. Any room in any dimension. But what's all that brain power getting you? Infinite versions of yourself. A personal army of regrets. Rick, if I had a penny for every time you've destroyed your own reality, I could probably fund another miracle. But here's the kicker. You've never been satisfied. You're still searching. And trust me, I know a thing or two about fulfillment. And let me tell you, it's not found in alternate dimensions or endless bottles of booze. So, Rick, let's talk. Seriously, where's your head at? Look, I get it, Rick. You've got this whole God complex thing going on. And, well, I've been there too. Quite literally. Walking on water, healing the sick, you name it. But here's the deal. I didn't do it for kicks. I did it out of love, out of compassion for people who needed it. You, on the other hand, you're playing God because you can. You've got this multiverse at your fingertips, and you're treating it like your own personal ant farm. But Rick, at what cost? You've got the power to create and destroy worlds, yet you keep using it to avoid reality, your reality, Morty's reality, the reality where people actually care about you. And don't think I haven't noticed how you've been manipulating the people closest to you, making sure they never get too close, always keeping them at arm's length. You think that keeps you safe, but it's just making you lonelier. I mean, let's look at the facts. Sure, you're the king of science, but what's the point if you're too busy jumping between dimensions to build real connections? You've seen infinite universes, but can you name a single one where you're truly happy? Where your brilliance is used to help people instead of pushing them away? Come on, Rick. You've got the smarts. Now let's work on that heart. Now let's be real for a second, because I see through the whole tough guy routine. You've hurt the people who care about you the most, and it's not because you're evil. It's because you're scared. Scared of letting them in. Scared that if they saw the real Rick, they wouldn't stick around. But Rick, here's a truth bomb for you. They've already seen it, and they're still here. You've got a family that's stuck by you, even when you've given them every reason to leave. That says something. Remember that time you cloned Beth because you couldn't face the idea of being a real dad? You left her to wonder whether she's even real, Rick. That's a special kind of damage. And Morty, the kid looks up to you more than anyone, but you've dragged him into situations that no teenager should ever have to face. Like, ever. Just because you've got the ability to rip through dimensions doesn't mean you should be using your grandson as emotional collateral. But here's the thing, Rick. You're not a lost cause. You've got all this potential. Imagine what you could do if you used your intelligence to build rather than destroy. If you stopped treating people like disposable parts in your cosmic experiment. Maybe, just maybe, you'd find that the love you've been running from this whole time was the missing piece. It's never too late, man, even for someone like you. Rick, I know what you're thinking. Redemption? That's not my style. But hear me out. The thing about redemption is that it's not about wiping the slate clean. Let's face it, no one's pretending you're going to win Father of the Year anytime soon. But it's about making a choice. You've got a chance, right now, to start doing things differently. You've got the power to change. Not just the laws of physics, but yourself. Look, I've forgiven people for some pretty intense stuff. I mean, I got nailed to a cross and I still found it in me to forgive. You, my friend, are light work compared to that. And trust me, if I can forgive, so can Morty, Beth, and even Summer. Redemption doesn't mean you erase the past. It means you take ownership of it and decide to be better moving forward. You're not doomed to be the mad scientist forever. You can evolve, Rick. And trust me, that's a lot more impressive than creating another interdimensional portal gun. I know it's scary. Facing your mistakes, stepping up to the plate, it's not the easy way out. But when has easy ever been your style? You're Rick Sanchez. You do the impossible. So why not make this your next challenge? The one where you actually fix the mess you've made, not by running away from it, but by embracing it. Rick, you've been through every corner of the universe, but here's the one thing you've yet to explore: living with purpose. I know you like to say that nothing matters, but that's just your defense mechanism talking. You're scared of meaning, because if something matters, you're on the hook. But the truth is, meaning is what makes life worth living. You've got the brains to change the course of entire worlds, but what if you used those brains to change the course of your own life? Look, I'm not saying it'll be easy. It won't. But you've never been one to shy away from a challenge. You've faced off with gods, aliens, and your own inner demons. This question mark. This is just another obstacle. The good news is, you don't have to face it alone. You've got people who care about you, people who are ready to forgive you if you give them the chance. So, why not give it a shot? Start small. Maybe stop dragging Morty into life-threatening scenarios. Maybe tell Beth you're proud of her. Maybe let Summer know you see her for more than just the rebellious teenager. You don't have to save the multiverse, Rick. Just start by saving yourself. I'm not saying you have to fix everything overnight. Come on, we both know that's not your style. But you can start small. Maybe stop using Morty as your emotional punching bag. Or, I don't know, tell Beth you're proud of her for once. Just be present, Rick. You've been running for so long that you've forgotten what it means to just be in one place with the people who love you. You've got the intellect to create whole worlds. So how about using that brain of yours to create a little peace, a little happiness for the people who actually matter? Maybe you don't need another portal gun or a universe where you're king. Maybe you just need a moment of silence, sitting on that couch with your family, knowing that this reality, right here, right now, is enough. Rick, you've conquered so much, so many universes, so many challenges, but the biggest thing you can conquer is yourself. And trust me, that's the hardest one. But you've got it in you. If anyone can take on the impossible, it's you. You've faced down gods. You've bent the fabric of reality. But here's your final challenge: choosing to live with purpose. It's not going to be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. You've got the brains, Rick, and deep down, you've got the heart, too. Start small, one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll be living the life you've always tried to escape. And trust me, you'll find that it's not so bad after all. Rick, here's something you've managed to avoid like a pro: death. You've cheated it more times than I can count. Clones, mind transfers, hiding out in alternate dimensions. But come on, man. At some point, you've got to face it. Even the smartest guy in the multiverse can't outrun mortality forever. It's the one thing that unites every being, no matter how many galaxies you conquer. But I'm not here to scare you. Death isn't the end of the story. In fact, sometimes it's the only thing that makes life mean something. You keep jumping around, trying to avoid it. But in doing so, you're also avoiding the one thing that can give your existence purpose: facing the end. So here's my advice. Stop seeing death as your enemy. Accept it. Use it to make your time count. You don't have infinite chances, Rick. Even you have limits. So, what are you going to do with the time you've got? You know, Rick, for all your bluster and bravado, I see something underneath it all: guilt. You've made mistakes, some big ones, And instead of dealing with them, you bury them deep. But here's the thing about guilt. It doesn't just go away. It eats at you, whether you admit it or not. Every time you push someone away, every time you wreck a relationship, it's not just because you don't care. It's because you do, and you're terrified of letting them down again. But here's the funny thing about forgiveness. It's always there, Rick. You just have to accept it. You can be forgiven for your mistakes. You can forgive yourself. But the more you avoid it, the more you let guilt drive your choices, the more you're going to keep self-sabotaging. It's a cycle, and it's one you've been stuck in for way too long. Time to break free of it. Own up to what you've done, but don't let it define you. You're not your worst moments, Rick. You're capable of so much more. Here's something you might not like to hear, Rick. You're not perfect. I know, shocking, right? But here's the kicker. That's okay. Perfection isn't the goal. It never was. You've been striving for this impossible standard, trying to control every variable, every outcome, every version of yourself across the multiverse. But let me tell you a secret. It's the imperfections that make us human, that give life its texture, its meaning,